Welcome back. In this video we will learn about the static keywords and a little more about the loops and array list. For now I'm going to create first of all an array list of type student. Array list is a dynamic data structure that could be used for any user defined, means non-primitive data types, like student is a class and class is also a data structure, so it could be used to create an array list of type student. So it will hold number of students and is equal to new array list like this. And now I can add some kind of students to it. And remember, every student object I have to add it separately here. For that I'm going to run 3 statements in order to add three students to this array. Let's say 4, and I'm going to give everyone name. Changing their data. Let's say I change just this to, for example, 88, 87, like this. Now I can print out all the elements in this array list by running a for loop on this array, and I can add that by just doing this stuff. If int I is equal to less than I is equal to 0, I should be less than the size of that array, and that could be get by student dot size function, or yes, this is the function, I think. Doing the same stuff, and I can print out each and every student's information like this. Print ln students dot get. I'm getting an object from a particular array that we have created here, this array list, and I'm going to get the object from it, and then from that object I'm going to print its name. Alright, so I'm going to remove this unnecessary code from here. Also remove this one. So this is the clean code. Now I'm going to execute this particular code. As you can see, it has printed out every student's name in one piece line of code. So we this is another application of loops and the array list, and you can see how beautiful is array list. You can make the whole record of students in your database, and then from database you can store the whole data into an array list, and you can use this to display some kind of data. So this was all about array lists and for loops. Now I'm going to discuss here the static keyword. I'm going to get rid of all of this stuff. As you can see that there is a static keyword before this main, and we can also create a static data member. For example, static integer I, let's say. And now let's say I want to access this name of student in my void main. So how can I access that? I can access that by creating an object of student and by using dot operator to that student. But if that was a static data member, then I can access it like this. I have to just give the class name of that object, the class name of that data variable, and the data variable name. So this is how we can access static variables. And the other property of static variable is that when all of this whenever this function is run, for example public static void main, or this class code inside this class is run and it approaches the last statement, and it exits through this braces, then the variables used inside get removed from the memory, but a static keyword still remains in the memory, and it is declared before any other data variable, and it is stored in memory, and its lifetime is greater than other variables. The reason for that is it's a static variable. The same goes to the function. If a function is a static function, then it could be accessed outside of this class without creating the object of this class. Alright, the same way we can access this I in this class without creating the object of this class. I'm going to demonstrate it like there. So let's say I want to access hello world I, then I don't need to create an object of that. I can access it like this. So for example, here I does is I is equal to 0, and now I'm going to run that particular function, and that could be run using creating its object dot, and the name of function was study books. So this way I can run this function. If I run this, it should print 0 because the value of 0 is the I. But let's say this I wasn't a static variable, then what happens? As you can see, it has thrown an exception saying that non-static variable cannot be referenced from a static context. That means we cannot access a non-static variable from a static function or a static context. So another concept I want to demonstrate is, for example, I create a function here, public void hello, and it is just going to print something like this, hello, and I'm going to call the only function here. But it says, it is saying the same thing. So if a function is a static, we cannot call a non-static function from that function. We have to declare the other function also static in order to call that function from here. So I have to make it static here, and this one static too. Alright, now when I will execute, this hello will be printed out. As you can see, this hello is printed out, and I'm again removing the static to show that if a function is not static, it could not be called from a static function. The reason for that is static function comes to the memory before any other function comes, and it can call before this function is being created. So that's why this is throwing an exception. So this was about static functions. That's why we always declare main function as static, because it is being called by JVM, Java Virtual Machine, and Java Virtual Machine don't create any object, that just directly call this function. So I think you might have understood. If you have any doubts, let me know in the comment section. I'll answer each comment. So thanks for watching this video. That's it for Java. In the next section we will continue our Android learning program.